Calling to order a little bit late at 9:05. Thank you for your patience. Madam Secretary, may we have the roll?
Chen,
Here.
Cisneros,
Here.
Knoll,
Louisa, did you call my name?
yes, Knoll,
Yes, I'm here.
thank you. Soel,
Present.
Stallings,
Here.
Duran.
Present.
You have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. We've reached the portion of the meeting reserved for public comment. I do want to make an observation and a note, and that this is the very first meeting at which the State Bar Office here in Southern California is open for public members to attend in person, whereas they had previously been attending only virtually. So we're thankful for that progress in our health situation here. I do not see any members of the public present in the room, and I will ask the secretary or whoever else may know whether we have members of the public online who would wish to address the executive committee.
I do not see any hands raised at the moment.
Okay, great.
Oh, I'm sorry, there's one hand that just came up.
All right,
Sebastian Bendek.
great. Mr. Bendick, when your microphone is activated, you'll have 3 minutes to address the executive committee. Welcome.
Good morning to all members of the board. My name is Sebastian Bendek, and I'm currently apprenticing as a provisionally licensed lawyer at the Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles. I've completed over 3,000 hours of legal work in the areas of eviction defense, domestic violence, and deportation defense. I request the admission on motion of the California provisionally licensed lawyers to full licensure as California attorneys. This action is appropriate based on the legal services we have performed and the merit we have displayed over the course of the pandemic. Additionally, I believe that an alternative apprenticeship pathway to licensure would be beneficial to the State Bar of California. This apprenticeship model would provide a more holistic pathway to membership into the legal profession. This pathway would allow the State Bar to more thoroughly vet and prepare the applicant for more of the true rigors of the profession prior to the applicant being fully licensed as a California attorney. Thank you for your time. I waive the rest of my time.
Thank you, Mr. Bendick. For those of you who are participating by phone, you may raise your hand by pressing *9. Just want to make sure that direction is clear. If you're on Zoom, there is a raise hand function. We'll pause for about 5 or 10 seconds to see whether anyone else wishes to address the executive committee.
I thought I saw one more hand raised, but I do not see any more hands raised.
Okay, we will close the
I'm
public.
sorry. I
Here we go.
apologize. We have one more hand raised, Todd Hill.
Great. I'm assuming it's a Mr. Hill. You've got 3 minutes once we activate your microphone.
Yes, Mr. Duran. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear any of what you said. The volume seemed to drop. Did it drop for everybody or just for me?
So let me just ask a question. Are you talking about my voice or the voice of the public commenter who just finished?
Both, I guess. I didn't hear your voice at all, and I didn't know a public commenter had spoken. But I can hear you now.
We'll take a real quick pause to see if there's any functionality here we need to address or adjust. You're hearing me now, so I'm assuming it's helpful if I'm speaking louder. If I could ask the secretary to do a mic check as well, that would be great.
Testing. Are you able to hear me?
Mr. Hill, do you got that?
Yes,
Hello?
thank you. Much appreciated, sir. It's a bit better, yes.
Okay, we can hear you, so certainly please feel free to start your comments, and we look forward to hearing what you've got to say.
I didn't hear your original question of what were you commenting on. This is just open for public comment?
This is
General?
for public comment. Mr. Hill, if you've got public comment, now's the time to give it.
Oh, yes, I do, sir. But it's not really in reference to, I think, anything that's in open session today. But it is public comment. I would really appreciate a non-conflicted ombudsman to communicate with me related to my issues with the bar. I think that would be appropriate and fair. And I've waited quite a long time for that. That's my public comment today.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate you. Okay, public comment is closed. Item 1A on our agenda this morning is the chair's oral report, which I will forego. And that brings us to the consent calendar that has, I'm sorry, there's another raised hand. I apologize. I will reopen public comment.
We have two additional public commenters. First one is Ava H.
Okay, Ava, you've got 3 minutes. Good morning, Ava. Can you hear me?
Good morning. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much to the committee. And I wanted to especially thank Luisa Arapetian. She does an incredible job as a fellow public servant. I'm I'm actually a physician for the state of California. I've worked for the Department of Consumer Affairs with the Attorney General's office. I just wanted to second the motion by the first speaker. I hope I'm not mispronouncing his name, Sebastian. I am in thorough support of that. I admire his work. And I think there's such a deficit of public defenders and people for criminal justice and administrative justice that need to stand up for the common public. And I know I'm preaching to the choir. Everyone agrees to these things. But I think this is an excellent pathway and opportunity, and I wanted to support him. I have concerns that regarding the first year law student exam, but I don't want to belabor everyone's time because everyone's time is valuable. So I presented the documentation. I thank Luisa for submitting it to the committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ava. I appreciate it. We have another raised hand.
Yes, we have Robin Loza.
Robin, good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
We can.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for allowing me to speak. Since the PLL program started, I have worked in criminal defense, civil litigation for plaintiff side, tax law, and immigration. Currently, I'm working for a civil litigation defense firm. I am responsible for managing my own caseload. I have to submit all of my work for review and feedback. If my work needs edits, then my work is given back to me and I make the corrections. Just to highlight a couple of wins for me this week at work. Only after being with the firm for 3 months, I settled my first case. Opposing counsel who has been practicing for several years, and I communicated back and forth for about 2 weeks. Not once did my director hesitate to allow me to continue to work on the case because I am a provisional licensed attorney. Rather, he worked with me to build my negotiation skills and encouraged me to close the case. A second victory is when my ex-party motion to continue trial was granted. I argued our motion, and opposing counsel, who has been practicing again for several years, appeared and argued his opposition. The judge disagreed with his arguments and in fact said, "We're not doing this today. We're not doing this here today, counsel," and immediately gave me a new trial date. I believe I was able to stand before the court and argue on behalf of my client because the PLL program allowed me to actually put into practice what I learned in law school for 2.5 years. I have more courtroom experience than some of my colleagues who passed the California State Bar exam. I am actual proof that the California Bar exam does not determine how successful an attorney will be. I kindly request that you regret an alternative pathway to licensure for the PLLs. Please allow me to continue to work to help my clients and be a valuable participant in my community. Thank you. I waive the rest of my time.
Thank you, Ms. Loza.
We have one more raised hand, Patrick Quinn.
Mr. Quinn, good morning.
Good morning to all. My name is Patrick Quinn. I'm a provisionally licensed lawyer here in California. I began my provisional license and approved in December 9 of 2020. From December 9 of 2020, I've been with one law firm and I have put in thousands of hours of work of supervised practice. I've handled many, many different matters in the area of criminal defense, and I've had many victories. Some of my victories include getting DUIs diverted over, the state appeals case, which expressly state that it's not allowed. I've also had the pleasure of helping many people that have been racially profiled in the county of Los Angeles, which their cases were completely dismissed. I've done many more things which I could talk about, which would display my competency. But I just wanted to reiterate another thing. The only reason why I became provisionally licensed was during an unprecedented time, not only with the COVID-19 pandemic, but I've had major health issues. After graduating law school, I was diagnosed with adult epilepsy and I have grand mal seizures. Since becoming provisionally licensed, I've been able to have a steady life, maintain health, and seek what I have the ability to do is criminal defense. I just respectfully request the committee to consider the provisionally licensed lawyers during this unprecedented time and just really think about what a competent attorney takes. I believe displaying over the last 2 years and having no and my active license still being active displays my competency. I just commend everybody else for speaking and wish everybody a blessed week. I waive the rest of my time.
Thank you, Mr. Quinn, for taking the time to speak with us about your situation. I'm glad to hear that you are feeling healthier. Any other members of the public?
We do not have any other
Okay.
I see Todd Hill's hand is raised again.
Mr. Hill, all due respect and sincere apologies, you've had an opportunity to address the executive committee, so we're not going to give you another chance. We need to keep the meeting running and in fairness to everyone else who's already spoken. I will close the public comment period here, and that takes us to our one consent item, which is approval of minutes. Are there any corrections, questions, or additions to the minutes? Seeing none, may I have a motion to approve the consent calendar. Motion by Stallings,
I'll second.
second by Cisneros. May we have the roll?
Chen,
Yes.
Cisneros,
Aye.
Noel,
Aye.
Sol,
Aye.
Stallings.
Yes.
5 ayes, 0 nays. The motion carries.
Thank you, committee members. That takes us to our business items. Item A from Trustee Shelby and Secretary Adepatian is the approval of the annual appointment of officers and members of the State Bar sub-entities. Good morning, Trustee Shelby.
Good morning, Mr. Duran. I think Louisa is going to kick us off this morning.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Executive Committee members. This agenda item presents the candidates recommended for appointment to the Committee of Bar Examiners and the Lawyer Assistance Program Oversight Committee. There are currently 2 vacancies to fill for the Committee of Bar Examiners and 1 for the Lawyer Assistance Program Oversight Committee. For the Committee of Bar Examiners, the positions to be filled are for the judicial officer and the newly admitted attorney. To assist the Supreme Court of California in identifying members for appointments, Rule 9.4 of the Rules of Court requires the State Bar to nominate candidates for the Supreme Court's consideration. Staff and CBE officers reviewed the candidates and presented the recommendations to the board's appointments liaison, Melanie Shelby, for consideration. The second appointment recommendation is for the Lawyer Assistance Program, and this is to fill 1 vacancy. The vacant position should be filled by a licensed mental health professional with knowledge and expertise in identification and treatment of substance abuse and mental illness. Staff conferred with a working group and presented the recommended candidate for Trustee Shelby's consideration. Trustee Shelby, I'll turn it over to you.
Yes, good morning again. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to Louisa and Lizette, who have been wonderful compadres in really identifying great appointments and the work that they have done. I take such pride in being the appointment liaison. Would love to have the chair appoint another person to join me so they can participate in this very important exercise. But the work that they have done, and we talked about this, I think, at length at the last board meeting, as it relates to ensuring that we get a great pool of candidates. This slate did not make the last slate, because typically we do this once a year at our July meeting, and so there were some additional appointments that needed to transpire, and so that's what we have in front of you today. And so we ask respectfully that you would support the resolution as stated. So thank you.
Thank you both. Any questions for either of our presenters before I make my comments? gentlemen on the screen? I see none. I see no questions in the room. So let me start by addressing the lack of appointment that will be rectified this afternoon in my chair's report during the regular board meeting. Certainly with my thanks for all the work that you have done, Trustee Shelby, and certainly Louisa and Lizette and everyone else at the State Bar. The folks who put out the social media to advertise these positions that are very important to the work that the State Bar does throughout the state. All of you who have encouraged people to apply and spoken to potential applicants, thank you for being ambassadors for the organization, certainly important stuff. With that, can I have a motion on the resolution, please?
So Zay, I'll move the motion.
Motion by
This is Arnie.
Cisneros,
I'll second. This is Arnie.
second by Sewell. The motion is on the screen for the executive committee's final review, and those members of the public who are with us online. Give you a chance to look at it very quickly. For the benefit of our future appointees, would you mind just saying the names and who they are and what they've been appointed to?
Yes, certainly. For the Committee of Bar Examiners, the resolution states that the Board Executive Committee recommends that the Board of Trustees nominates the following candidates as presented in Attachment A to a 4-year term to the Supreme Court of California, from which the Supreme Court will appoint 2 new members to the Committee of Bar Examiners, one for the Judicial Officer, Judge Amy Guerra, and the second for newly admitted attorney, Ashley Silva Guzman. And we'll go down to the Lawyer Assistance Program. The Board Executive Committee recommends to the Board of Trustees the appointment of Dr. Elise Yene to the Lawyer Assistance Program Oversight Committee, each for a 4-year term as well.
Great, thank you so much. All right, we have a motion and a second. Could we have the vote, please?
Chen,
Yes.
Cisneros,
Aye.
Noel,
Yes.
Sol,
Aye.
Stallings,
Yes.
5 ayes, 0 nays. The motion carries.
Thank you, everyone. Takes us to item B, the approval of the annual appointment of the State Bar member to the Judicial Council of California. If Ms. Arapatian could
Take it down.
give us a staff report, that would be wonderful.
Yes, thank you. This next agenda item presents the recommendation to fill the vacancy of 1 State Bar member to the Judicial Council of California. The Judicial Council, a state constitutional agency established in 1926, provides policy direction to the courts, the governor, and the legislature. The vacancy of Maxwell Pritt is due to expire in September. This agenda item requests the reappointment of Maxwell Pritt to a 3-year term commencing on September 22nd, 2022.
Thank you. Any questions for Louisa? Seeing none, and with thanks to our appointee, may I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Sewell, second by Stallings. And we have the vote.
Chen,
Yes.
Cisneros,
Aye.
Noel,
Yes.
Sol,
Aye.
Stallings.
Yes.
5 ayes, 0 nays. The motion carries.
Thank you very much. Item C is the approval of the California Indian Legal Services appointment of the State Bar Representative to the Board of Trustees. And we have a staff report from Program Supervisor Christopher McConkey, please.
Good morning, everyone.
Elizabeth, I'm on the screen. Welcome, both of you.
I don't know if our program director wants to say anything before I do, but Elizabeth.
Oh, no, Chris will lead the presentation, and if there are any questions, we're happy to answer. And of course, we want to defer to Trustee Shelby if she would like to chime in.
Indeed. Thank you, Elizabeth. Good morning. I'm Chris McConkey, Program Supervisor with the Office of Access and Inclusion. I'm briefly presenting Agenda Item C, which seeks the committee's recommendation of Chief Judge Christine Williams of the Wilton Tribal Court to the Board of Trustees of the California Indian Legal Services, an incorporated nonprofit in California that focuses on serving Indigenous Californians and tribal communities. CILS, California Indian Legal Services, is a federal legal services corporation grantee. It receives federal funding to provide legal aid to the Native American reservations all across the state. And as a condition of receiving that federal funding, it needs to hold a certain number of seats on its board of trustees for state, county, or municipal bar association appointees. So CILS seeks its appointments from the State Bar Board of Trustees, which does an amazing job of helping it reach attorneys all across the state to serve on its board. Its bylaws requires that its Board of Trustees members demonstrate a strong passion for tribal communities' rights, and it has nominated Tribal Court Chief Judge Christine Williams of the Wilton Tribal Court to serve on its board. State Bar staff enthusiastically supports Judge Williams's nomination for the reasons outlined in today's memo. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for Christopher? Again, thanks to Judge Williams for agreeing to serve in this important role. If there are no questions, may I have a motion on the resolution?
Right, so moved.
Motion by Stallings.
Second.
Greg, you keep almost getting in there.
I'm trying.
I know you are. Take the roll call vote, please.
Chen,
Yes.
Cisneros,
Aye.
No,
Yes.
Sol,
Aye.
Stallings. 5 ayes, 0 nays, the motion carries.
Great, thank you. Takes us to our last open session item, which is item D, the approval of the 2022 work plan for the California Board of Legal Specialization. As indicated on your staff report, Chief of Programs Donna Hershkowitz will enlighten us.
Good morning. I hope I can live up to that. I'm just going to do a very brief presentation here for you. At your last meeting in July, I presented the work plans for the Committee of Bar Examiners and the Council on Access and Fairness. At the time, I noted that the work plan for the California Board of Legal Specialization was not quite ready for you. Staff have been working to align the work plans that were adopted for the 2020 year to the new strategic plan. When they were originally adopted by the committees, they were based on the old strategic plan, and so we've been working to align them. We were able to complete that work for the work plan of the California Board of Legal Specialization, and I have that here for your consideration and adoption. And I think the best thing to do would be to just ask if you've got any questions and leave it at that.
Thanks, Donna. Any questions from the trustees on the screen first? Seeing none. Any questions from the trustees here in the room? Any comments? If there are no comments, I will just make one, and that is the alignment that you talked about, I think is critical and important for all the work that we do. Consistency and alignment in light of a new strategic plan is an important part of making sure that we're sort of all on the same page, rowing in the same direction, and I will stop with the metaphors. Can we have a motion, please?
So moved.
Motion by Cisneros. Second by Mr. Knoll.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Can we have the vote?
Chen,
Yes.
Cisneros,
Aye.
No,
Yes.
Sol,
Aye.
Stallings.
Aye.
5 ayes, 0 nays, the motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. At this point, we are going to move into closed session under the authority of Government Code Section 1126 subsection A to consider the performance evaluation of the Executive Director. If I could have the room cleared of non-trustees, please, and Ms. Wilson and Louisa stays for the first part, yes? Yes, please.
Greg, it looks like they just sent a special link for closed session that we're gonna have to use.
I don't remember getting that.
Maybe if you go to, it sounds like Louisa may have just sent it, okay?
Oh, Louisa said it just now?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Oh, there it is. Join the closed session, yeah.